Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital, GH. Spoilers hint that a new face is about to pop up in the land of Port Charles and become a staple in Josslyn Jack's Eden McCoy world. Actor Bryce Durfee is set to debut on the soap this Friday, March 7, and will play Vaughn, Joss' WSB handler. From the sounds of it, the new agent will be spending a ton of time with Vaughn. So will the young man become her new romantic interest? It's been a rough few months for Joss. Her boyfriend, Dex Heller, even Hofer, was stabbed and eventually offed via a digitalis injection. Thanks to Cyrus Renault, Jeff Kober. Still, at the time, the young woman didn't know Cyrus was behind her boyfriend's murder, and she launched a private investigation to figure things out. Thanks to some breadcrumbs thrown by Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, she eventually found the culprit, and she's currently on her way to becoming a bona fide WSB agent. Still, Joss's life is about to change, and she doesn't truly realize it. While she'll still be living in Port Charles, she won't be able to interact with her friends and family the way she used to. This will be challenging to say the least, but thankfully, she'll have someone to help ease her transition. What kind of role does a WSB handler play, exactly? Will Vaughn be introduced to others in PC, or will he slip in and out of Joss's orbit without being seen? As the two have the WSB in common, and Josslyn can't share her new job with friends and family, she and Vaughn will undeniably bond. They will likely clash at first, as every soapy romance starts off this way, for the most part. But they are bound to get close. Still, will these two have sparks? Only time will tell. Josslyn Jack's has always been fearless, headstrong, and determined to carve her own path. But nothing could have prepared her for the dangerous world she was about to step into. When her older brother, Michael Corinthos, became tangled in a deep WSB investigation involving pikemen, Josslyn's life took an unexpected turn. She suddenly found herself under the watchful eye of a new WSB handler, one who would not only protect her, but ignite a romance neither of them saw coming. A dangerous threat forces the WSB's intervention. After years of dodging the criminal underworld, Josslyn had finally embraced her future as a medical student at Port Charles University. Her life seemed relatively stable, until her connection to Dex Heller came back to haunt her. Though she and Dex had gone their separate ways after his near-fatal mission against Sonny Corinthos, pikemen had not forgotten her involvement. When Michael's discreet dealings with the WSB began unraveling, he inadvertently put Josslyn in danger. Pikemen, realizing she was a weak link, saw her as leverage to keep Michael in check. The threats escalated from anonymous warnings to near-lethal close calls, one of which nearly ended her life when her car was tampered with, causing a terrifying crash. That was enough to convince the WSB that Josslyn needed protection. And so, they assigned her a handler, Agent Callum Hayes. Enter Callum Hayes, the WSB's best-kept secret. Callum Hayes wasn't your typical government agent. He'd have been a rising star within the WSB, known for his unconventional tactics and razor-sharp instincts. At 32, he had already infiltrated and dismantled multiple criminal organizations, earning a reputation as one of the agency's best. However, his last assignment had nearly cost him everything. A deep-cover mission gone wrong had left him physically and emotionally scarred, forcing him into a desk job. That was until the agency tapped him for a more low-risk assignment, protecting Josslyn Jack's. To Callum, this was just another babysitting job. He expected a spoiled young woman who wouldn't take her own safety seriously. What he got instead was Josslyn, fiery, independent, and absolutely unwilling to let a stranger dictate her life. Clashing sparks and unwanted attraction. From the moment they met, it was war. "I don't need a bodyguard," Josslyn argued, arms crossed as she glared at the man standing in her dorm room. Callum, with his dark, brooding eyes and impossibly calm demeanor, barely flinched. "That's not up to you." Josslyn scoffed. "Oh, so you're just going to follow me everywhere? Into my classes, my study sessions? What about the bathroom?" His lips twitched in amusement. "I'll trust you to handle that on your own." She hated him instantly. But beneath that hatred was something else, an awareness, a tension. Callum wasn't just some faceless agent. He was confident, sharp, and undeniably attractive in a way that made Josslyn's stomach twist. The problem? He was also infuriating. Callum, on the other hand, was just as unsettled. He had dealt with dangerous criminals, ruthless spies, and hardened assassins. But nothing had prepared him for Josslyn Jax and her relentless defiance. He told himself she was just another assignment, but every time she flashed those determined blue eyes at him, it became harder to believe it. From resentment to something more. Despite her protests, Josslyn couldn't deny that Callum was good at his job. When a masked intruder broke into her dorm one night, it was Callum who took him down in seconds, barely breaking a sweat. When Pikeman's men attempted to corner her on campus, it was Callum who appeared out of nowhere, shoving her into his car and peeling away just in time. It didn't take long for her annoyance to turn into reluctant gratitude, and then into something else entirely. One evening, after a particularly heated argument about her safety, Josslyn stormed off to the university library, needing space. But trouble followed her. A man, one of Pikeman's operatives, tried to corner her in the dimly lit stacks. Before she could react, Callum was there, moving like a force of nature. With swift precision, he took down the threat, pinning the attacker to the ground before the man could even reach for his weapon. Josslyn stood there, heart racing, breath shallow. "You okay?" Callum asked, his voice softer than usual. Josslyn nodded, but she wasn't okay. Not with the way her pulse was hammering in her ears. Not with the way Callum's gaze lingered on hers. For the first time, she wasn't just seeing him as her unwanted protector. She was seeing him as a man. A man she desperately wanted to kiss. Crossing the line. The line between them blurred after that night. Callum started spending more time at her apartment rather than keeping his distance. Josslyn found herself drawn to him, testing the limits of their dynamic. She'd tease him, push him, challenge him in ways that had nothing to do with safety protocols. Then, one night, everything changed. After another run-in with Pikeman's men, Josslyn found herself back at her apartment, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Callum was there, as always, standing too close, looking too intense. "You keep putting yourself in danger," he murmured, his voice rougher than usual. "I didn't ask for a babysitter," she shot back. "No, you didn't," he admitted, his gaze darkening. "But that doesn't mean I'm going anywhere." Something inside her snapped. Maybe it was the fear, maybe it was the exhaustion, or maybe it was just the way Callum was looking at her, like she was something dangerous, something irresistible. She kissed him first. It wasn't soft, wasn't hesitant. It was fierce and demanding, filled with every ounce of frustration and attraction she'd been holding back. Callum hesitated for only a second before he gave in, his hands gripping her waist, pulling her against him like he'd been fighting it for weeks. From that moment, there was no turning back. The fallout. Their relationship was reckless, dangerous. Callum knew it was against protocol. Josslyn knew it complicated everything. But neither of them could stop. Their nights turned into stolen moments, whispers in the dark, hidden touches, lips meeting in secrecy. But secrets never stayed buried in Port Charles. One evening, Sonny Corinthos caught wind of their entanglement and wasted no time confronting Callum. "You think you can get close to Josslyn without consequences?" Sonny's voice was low, dangerous. Callum met his gaze evenly. "I didn't plan on it happening." But it did. Sonny's warning was clear. If Callum hurt Josslyn, he wouldn't just have to answer to the WSB. He'd have to answer to Sonny Corinthos himself. To make matters worse, Pikeman wasn't done with Josslyn yet. A final attack was in motion, one that would force Callum to make the ultimate choice: follow orders or risk everything to keep her safe. Love in the line of fire. When Pikeman made their final move, it was Josslyn they targeted. But this time, they wanted to make a statement. They abducted her from campus, forcing Callum into an impossible situation. He could follow WSB protocol and wait for backup, or he could go after her alone. The choice was easy. Callum went rogue, storming the hideout with the precision of a man with nothing to lose. The battle was brutal. But in the end, he got to Josslyn, beaten, bloodied, but alive. She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "You came for me." "Always," he whispered, pressing his forehead to hers. But their troubles weren't over. Callum's actions had consequences. The WSB wasn't forgiving when it came to insubordination, and his career was now hanging by a thread. Yet, for the first time, he didn't care. Because keeping Josslyn safe wasn't just a job anymore. It was personal. What's next for Josslyn and Callum? With Callum on the WSB's bad side and Josslyn still in danger, their future remains uncertain. But one thing is clear, neither of them is willing to walk away. Love wasn't part of the mission. But in the world of General Hospital, sometimes the most unexpected connections are the ones worth fighting for. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our GH News 24 YouTube channel for more update news.